Consultants in Healthcare is taking on a new chapter, which is super exciting. And I don't just have her here because she looks good. Michelle Griffin, Dr. Griffin is the CEO of Griffin Resources, and we have been collaborating for quite a few months on a much bigger project, more from a referral back and forth type of relationship. And then the relationship just evolved and blossomed. And we had amazing synergy, at least on my side, I will say that.
Well, it was also nice once we started talking with each other and learning how we were going to make a partnership to have referrals. It was one of the first business relationships that I'd ever felt that the back end made so much sense. We had the exact same project plan typed, and we used these same systems. And when we started saying, well, if I were going to calculate my referrals and this is how I would track their work, we started saying it's exactly how I do it too. And once we got that far into conversations of, you know, how do we make this make sense from a referral perspective, we decided to go a little bit deeper and discuss how our businesses could collaborate much closer.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, most things are built on the back end. So once we saw that and we realized that we also hire the same. Mm-hmm. And we had similar project managers, which even their personalities were the same. So we realized like our fractional ways of how we provide, you know, services to those small and medium businesses was really large. I come from the clinical space. So my background's an ICU nurse and I'm a growth junkie. Sales and building healthcare businesses. And then for Michelle,
we started in healthcare. My first client was in the psychiatry and psychology space for assisted living facilities, and that was my first introduction to healthcare. And I learned the very, very different systems when it comes to healthcare for credentialing and background checks and helping companies onboard and offboard, and how vastly different that was from the other spaces I had been in, which was IT software and construction. So with Griffin Resources, we stayed diversified across the other areas of different industries, manufacturing, but healthcare always stayed a part of our business structure. And so while we continued to grow and expand, those were companies that we always wanted to be able to help. And our mission and visions of our companies were also very, very similar on why we actually do what we do for helping small businesses. And that was also when we started to realize there was a lot more synergies.
Now, is there any change for the customers? So for AK clients that are moving over into Griffin, what changes? What stays the same?
Our number one priority was to make sure that the AK clients didn't feel any disruption along with the AK team members. So my biggest take on that we had done from our IT perspective was to make sure that we had all of the same resources that all of the team members were used to using, so that when they continued to have businesses past July of 2024 into August, that the team members could continue to support the clients in the same exact fashion that they already were doing. And then in speaking with the clients, we didn't want to disrupt anything that they had either. So all of our contracts with them are completely copy-paste into the Griffin.
literally.
So we changed absolutely no terms, no pricing, nothing. And it's literally just sign here. It's the exact same continuation of services.
And is that with the same staff?
It's the same staff, everything that you're used to, but I will say a little bit with icing on the cake. So more of a robust infrastructure. It allows the company to really take on new wings, no pun intended with the logo. It does allow it to take on new wings, because bringing together a back end that was very similar, it also allows Michelle and I to look at it from a long-term vision and growth perspective. And with Michelle leading the organization of Griffin Resources and AK underneath, as a CEO, it allows me to step back as an advisor and look through the lens that I'm most comfortable with and that I can really execute from and support what that long-term vision looks like. And yes, competitive, yes, growth junkies, so definitely more to come for innovation and lots of tools that Griffin has that AK did not, but putting those two together is like the puzzle just fits.
And that was kind of what was really interesting with our service models. We both offered fractional recruiting, which is not normal in the recruiting space. Most of the time it's agencies and placements and contingencies. So the fact that we had extraordinarily similar fractional models when it came to talent acquisition and recruiting makes a lot of the transition very seamless for the clients that are already using that. And then it came to the diversified service offerings that we both have. So I have fractional HR and she has fractional sales and business development. So then we can start to bring those service offerings to our current clients to help them be able to grow and change in ways that we wouldn't have been able to help them otherwise.
Yeah, and at the right time too. What's nice about bringing it all under one umbrella is that when you go to sell something, right? Like if you go to a butcher, you're gonna get meat, but you might not want meat that day. Maybe you just want vegetables that day. So now being able to have the intake process that we utilize, but they have an intake process as well, bringing it together will give them the exact resource that they need at the exact time and still that top talent that they look forward to.